Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. Let me get my computer back. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. I do apologize for the delay. We had some technical difficulties. So if you are joining us midstream, here we are. We're going to get right into it. We have our special guests, Donna Shannon, Julia Rock, and Tamika Thompson. And they are all resume writers, and they are all here to school us and give us tips and anything else that we can use to update our resume so that we can jump out ahead of everyone that is in our field. It's important to stand out in your field. I promise you, promise you, promise you. My resume and my portfolio have gotten me jobs, and I have not even talked to the people yet. So I guarantee you, your resume is your representative, and you want to make a good first impression. So, ladies, starting to, should I say my left, Donna, Julia, and Tamika, introduce yourselves and tell us what you do, and then we'll get started.
All right. First, my name is Donna Shannon. I am the president and owner of Personal Touch Career Services. Some of you in the nanny world may have heard of me before. I did speak at the INA last year in New Orleans. And I have been a professional resume writer and job search coach since 2004. I've been working specifically with the private service industry since 2005. But that's not the only focus of my business. About 25% to 30%, we still work directly with nannies and executive assistants, personal assistants, private chefs, state managers, all the rest of those kind of things. So I have a team of 5 staff resume writers in addition to myself, and that's it.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Julia Rock, and I am the owner of Rock Career Development, and it's a career solutions firm that is focused on empowering ambitious professionals to unlock and achieve their full career potential. We provide a suite of both career coaching as well as writing services. So if you need a resume, a LinkedIn profile optimized, or a cover letter, we provide those services. And then also the coaching side, we provide coaching all the way through interview coaching, through salary negotiation, career coaching, and leadership development. So really, if you're trying to get to that next level in your career, or if you're looking to start your own business and you're trying to identify whether or not your idea is profitable, we provide business plan and startup coaching as well. I started my business back in 2013, but I've been writing resumes now since about 2006. And then I got certified some years ago, I guess it was 2014, I got certified as a professional resume writer. And that's a bit about me.
Okay, well, I am Tamika Thompson. I am the lead resume writer and owner of Thompson Resume Writing Company, formerly known as MCM Professional Resume Writing Services. I actually just went through a rebrand. And so I focus on marketing go-getter professionals and leaders into marketable candidates by providing custom and targeted resumes and LinkedIn profiles. I basically turn those documents and those assets into selling tools because that's ultimately what they are. You are marketing and selling yourself to hiring managers and recruiters to explain why you are the best person for the job and why they should be calling you. Professionally, I've been doing resumes for about almost 10 years now. I started my business about 6 years ago, and currently I am working on my National Resume Writing Certification. And I also provide cover letter services as well, but my main focus or my main services are LinkedIn profiles and resumes.
Okay, so now that they have given you all the rundown on their businesses and everything that they do, and I promise you, firsthand, as in tonight, as in right now before we came on, when I say coaching, they coach. All of them, like, come on, calm down, it's going to be all right. Y'all don't know how much I was panicking because my computer was doing something that I had no clue what was going on, and they coached me right on through it. So I promise you, they're good. They got us on tonight, so they are good. Now, tell us about the cover letter, because I know some of us have resumes, but not all of us have a cover letter. What is a cover letter, first of all, and what is the importance of a cover letter?
So in my mind, the purpose purpose of a cover letter is like your introduction. And there's a little bit of a difference on whether it's being sent to an agency versus directly to the employer or the principals. So when it's being sent to an agency, you would include things that wouldn't necessarily go out to, the employers directly, like your salary requirements, or these are the ideal families for me to work with. This is the kind of area I'm looking for if there's a specific part just in the country or even within your metro area that you want to stay in. When it's a cover letter directly to the parents, it's a selling tool. Don't do the, I saw your job posted and I'm very interested and here's my resume. No, it has to be, what's your story? Why is it that you're drawn to working with children, and what really makes you an ideal candidate for their needs?
Okay.
And to just piggyback on that point, it's really important to make sure that if you're sending out a cover letter, that it's targeted and focused. The cookie cutter, just trying to copy and paste the same cover letter for every, family that you talk to, every organization that you talk to, is just not successful, because people can read when something's canned and it's not genuine. And if that's your first introduction to an organization, they want to know, or to a family, they want to know that, hey, you want to work with us specifically, not that, hey, you're just peanut butter spreading your resume around to see who hits first. So I would highly recommend targeting and making sure that your cover letter is focused so that people can see that you're genuinely interested in what they're offering and it's not just for everyone.
But I like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, me too. Not for cover
Everyone
letters,
does. Yeah, no, not for cover letters. Not for cover letters. Just to kind of give a final say so on it, piggybacking off of everything they just said, a common mistake that I see with cover letters is people kind of just regurgitate their resume into the cover letter in hopes that it will influence them to read your resume, and that's definitely something that you don't want to do. You want to take a look at the job description itself and really tailor the information that you put in your cover letter to that position. Talk about the value that you can bring that's based on those qualifications, and use it again to tell the story. Why are you interested in the field? How did you get into it? And also kind of talk about what interested you in the position itself, and what you're looking for next in your career. Oftentimes, I will use cover letters to talk about why somebody is looking to transition out of a current role, if there's been a gap in their employment, what they're looking for next, and if you're also looking to maybe relocate or move out of state or transition industries entirely, the cover letter is a good place to put that information as well.
Okay, because I know several nannies that I have spoken with in the last few days. A couple of them are relocating, and they don't know where they want to relocate to. They just know, I want to relocate from where I am to go to somewhere better, or to hopefully find a better position. I've relocated, military relocations, several times. So starting over is not easy, but it's like, for instance, when I moved to Dallas, I was in Arkansas, and I used care.com. I don't know if you all heard about care.com, but I used care.com, and my target was I knew it's November. I won't be there until March. I'm a newborn care specialist. So I'm going to go and I'm going to target the families that need babies, that are having babies in March, in April, in May, when I get there. But in doing that, I was able to come back and forth several weekends and tell them, look, I'm going to be in town at this point in time, and I'm up for an interview, and I brought my resume, I brought my portfolio and everything. I actually went on 22 interviews in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I knew that I couldn't take all the jobs, but it was for me to learn the area. It was for me to learn the price range here, because it's totally different from where I was. It was for me to learn what was out there, what people were thinking, learn the logistics of what's in Dallas, what do I have to choose from, what do I have to look forward to, and where do I need to improve on what I'm doing. So that was one of the reasons why I went through care.com. And like you said, with each job, I was like, okay, so yeah, I'm a twin specialist. So I sought out the twins, and I went for it. And I told them, I work with twins. I've worked with 33 sets of twins. That's a plus in my book. They're like, oh, she knows what she's doing. So then I said, well, I would be, this is what I can add to your family. Just like you all said with the cover letter. That pretty much was my first introduction slash cover letter for them because it was through an internet. But when when they saw my resume, by the time they said, well, just send me your resume. I sent my resume and 3 or 4 of them, okay, we want to hire you. We want to hire you. I'm like, you don't even know me. You haven't even met me. But if your resume is on point,
yes,
and your cover letter and when your communication with them is on point, no questions asked. You get the job. Now, onto the resume. When you write your resume, how many pages should your resume be?
I'll start with that. I'll start that one. So I think the kind of methodology now has shifted to you provide as many pages as is necessary to tell your story in an effective way and that someone can read. There's the 1-page rule, but the 1-page rule, if you have to use 8-point font and 0-inch margins in order to fit everything on there, clearly that's not the right answer. No one's going to read that. It's just going to seem too condensed. So you want to make sure that you're using enough space to effectively tell your story. However, though, employers only spend a few seconds looking at a resume. So, if your resume is too long, if you got 2 and 3 pages, the likelihood that they're going to read all of that backstory is just probably not the case. So if you need multiple pages because of the length of your experience, sure, but you really have to optimize that content because that first page is what they're going to see first and where they're probably going to spend the majority of their time. So it doesn't have to be 1 page, but you want to also be cognizant of the fact that people aren't going to spend 20 minutes reading through your resume either.
Okay. What about pictures? Should we use pictures on your resume?
Okay, there's the difference between private service and corporate. So
okay,
I'm going to bring a couple of points on this one. When we're writing resumes for somebody in private service, we almost always include the picture on it because it's being requested by the agencies. It's a standard for the industry.
If it's being requested, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is one of the things keep in mind whenever you're like reading advice online or something like that about resumes. Always keep in mind what's right for your industry.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of ties back into the whole, how many pages should it be? When I first started writing traditional presentation, formal portfolio style resumes for estate managers, nannies, and so on, it was very common that we would go on for multiple pages, have like the 1-page biography, have the very detailed skills list, which may be 1 page in and of itself. And then under each employer, it was another block. And with the shift we're seeing now in the industry is because we have millennials are now the parents. Old guard, the boomers, the Gen X's, all that, they're not making the hiring decisions anymore. And millennials have that shorter attention span.
Yeah.
That's why they only want to see the 2, maximum 3-page. And we actually even started to encourage people who are like newborn care specialists, or, Angela, you mentioned you work with infants and twins. You may have multiple jobs that are very short, especially newborn care specialists. It's kind of and it's like, there's so much that goes on that you do in every single job, but it's pretty much the same thing you do in every single job. So yeah. We use an actual functional format where we don't put the details under each and every one of the job postings. We set up a giant section of skills. It's like that big. It's about 1/3 of a page. Then we go typical responsibilities. So these are the kind of things that you would do in the job. It's about 1/3 of the page. And then for each one of the employers, it's just initials, location, if you're not all in one place like Chicago, the dates. Sometimes we'll have like the number of children, or if there was a special thing going on, like this was a special needs child, or we had to deal with, a lot of GERD or other things along those lines, the feeding challenges or colic or things like that. And then that's it. And it streamlines the whole thing, and we've had nannies who have 8-page resumes.
Yeah, I had one.
Pages, and it actually makes sense. But then we always have the portfolio. So if they request the big, long information and they do want to see everything that you've done since high school, you can provide that on request. But we're seeing it less and less often requested.
Okay, we have a question. What did she say? How are cover letters and bios on resumes different? Should one even include a bio if you already have a cover letter?
Mickey, you want to take that one?
Sure, yeah. I would say cover letters and bios are completely different. A bio is more so for speaking opportunities, or, you know, if you're applying to, I'm not sure, something post-graduation-ish, a bio is something completely separate. So with your cover letter, that's more so introducing the employer to you, your skill set, your value, your background, your story. Why did you get into the field? What sparked your interest in it? How have you grown in it? What have you accomplished in the industry at other companies so far? Why are you looking to work for this company? It's more so of a why than it is a bio and a general all about you sort of thing. Bios are typically about you and your history, and it's not really linking it to anything. With the cover letter, you're taking that information, you're telling a story, and you're linking it directly to why you're the best person for the job, why they should be calling you. Again, it's a selling tool, not a general document just talking about yourself, and that's more so what a bio is.
Okay.
And to piggyback on that just real quick is that it's the alignment between you and the opportunity or the company, the family, what have you. And I think that's the piece. The bio is just kind of just telling, it's just focused on you, but you have to align your cover letter with, this is me and this is why I fit with what you have going on, and this is why I want to work there. It's really about engaging or bringing in the other piece about the company, the family, or whoever. It's not just about you, I think. And so that's the point that Tamika is making. You have to bring the two together. It can't just be all about you.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
So you want to focus your cover letter on, this is why I am the best person for your particular job, not why I'm the best nanny in the world.
Exactly.
You can weave that in, but it can't be like,
yes. You know, this is what you know, in my portfolio, I believe a picture is worth about 1,000 words, but I take my portfolio to back up my resume.
Yeah.
And I know that it's probably, you know, most of the parents don't even get past the pictures. They just see the pictures. Oh, look at the cute little baby. And there you go. Because when you're dealing with women with hormones and they see babies and it's like, I'm having a baby, and it plays in their psyche. And that's one of the things I like about my resume and my portfolio, because I have a lot of twin experience on there. And like you said, my resume is sectioned out where I have a picture of myself with a set of twins. And I have permission, listen to me clearly, everyone. Permission is needed to be granted to you in order to use someone's picture of their children.
Oh, of course.
Please don't get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Do not get sued.
Yeah, Angela, I really like the point that you made of your portfolio supports the resume. So the resume doesn't necessarily have as much confidential information as the portfolio does.
Right.
Showing up with this longer document at the interview and showing, here's some of the pictures of the families that I've worked with, you wouldn't necessarily send that to an agency because even if you have permission to use the pictures, they may not understand that you have the permission to use the pictures, and then it looks like a breach of confidentiality.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I always state, and when I present my portfolio, I always state, they say, well, these are all the kids you work with? I said, no, these are only the children that I have permission to share their photos. So I know, portfolio is big and I've taught classes on portfolios, but please, 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 whatever you do, get permission to use the pictures. Now, I also have a copy of my resume in my portfolio, just in case, and it's the longer version of my resume, just in case while you're looking, you want to see what else I've done, because the longer version has my NCS work up front, because that's what I do now. But I also included nanny experience. I have a section called nanny experience in my resume, so just in case you want to see what else I have done in my past. So it kind of gives you a history of, she has been doing this for a long time, so she has experience. And because she has experience, this is somebody that I want, because she's, all these families have trusted her. Not just the families that I see pictures of, they trust. So your resume has a lot to do with everything.
Yeah.
Now, when writing a resume, I know we want to keep it to one page, and try to keep it as minimalized as possible, and save the longer one for when you go to the interview. When you are gathering information for your resume, and like Donna said, you've pretty much done everything for every child. You have this checklist that you go down. Do we put the checklist at the front? Do we put it somewhere in the middle? Do we add the families? How many ways? I know there are many ways to create a resume, but for the nanny field, how do we create a nanny resume that is going to stand out and not just be the standard black and white resume?
I don't know if you wanted to start, Donna.
Sure. So this is a concept that I teach not just nannies, but everybody, is how do we show emphasis within the resume itself, especially a lot of times in corporate roles. When you upload your resume, it drops to text, you lose all your formatting. So whatever is most important needs to be listed on the resume first.
Okay.
So if it's a quick summary that's like, 3 or 4 sentences about you, great. If it's all your certifications, just like newborn care specialist, and you're working with Tonya Sakowitz out in Arizona, you've got tons and tons and tons of certifications, and leading with that really says to the employers, hey, I've got specialized training in addition to all of my experience. If your skills are the things that are your best, that's what you're bringing to the table, your skills are going to go first. If you're emphasizing your experience, then that would go first. Because every page you go deeper into it, you're losing part of your audience. So you want to lead with your best information.
Okay.
And to piggyback on that is to also just talk about your impact that you have. It's so important to not just list that, I fed the baby, I did this, I did that. It's like, well, what value did you bring, especially in that first page? Because if you've been doing this a long time, the expectation is that you've taken on more responsibility and that you've really progressed and grown in your skill set as a nanny. And so you don't want it to be that you're saying the same thing that you were doing in 2009. In 2020, you're saying, I'm still feeding the baby, I'm doing this. It's like, well, what impact have you had? What value have you brought to the family? What have you been able to implement that has been helpful in the home to relieve the stress of the parents, or making sure the child is being reared properly, whatever it might be. You want to show that contrast, because to Donna's point, by the time they get to page 2 or 3, you may have lost the reader. And so you want to show that impact that you've had up front, as well as highlight the most important information.
Okay.
I agree with all of with both Donna and Julia. Those are really great points. I would say on page 1, within the first half of that document, you want to have any and everything that they're looking for. You not jam pack it, but you really want to make sure that you have the main things that they are looking for. I know for accountants, it's having the CPA and certain years of experience and certain skills. You really want to make sure that that first page has everything that they're looking for, as relevant as it is to the position. Education, skills, certification, Depending on your industry, that may vary, and especially depending on your career level, it could vary as well. For example, as a manager, you really want to focus like head on what you led. How, did you manage budgets? Did you oversee teams? Did you oversee operations? Did you change something? Did you spearhead something? All of that. So it does vary, but on that, again, on that very first page, in the very first half, you want to make sure you give them no reason to doubt that you're a good candidate and that they're not wasting their time looking at your resume at all.
Okay. Now, I've had several families over the past 2 or 3 months that have asked me, I need a nanny. I need, someone that does this, and this. So I go and I place a job posting, and I get people who PM me all the time. And I'm like, okay, can you send me a resume? And they take a picture and send me.
No.
So that I have received pictures. I have received letters instead of a resume. I have received letters of reference letters that's talking about the person. I'm like, okay, this is fine and good, but someone's reference letter may be different than someone else's. All your positions are not the same. All your positions can't be, okay, well, I took care of a 2-year-old boy. So you've taken care of 2-year-old boys your whole 30-year career.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to have a resume, because if I'm putting a job out there, they're expecting, because of who I am, they asking me, because, oh, you know everybody, and you do ask the nanny, so you got to know some nannies, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know as many people as y'all think I know, but I will put a job posting out there, and I will send you the best candidates. And a lot of them online, especially on Facebook, when I post them, it comes back and I get a phone number and I get a phone number and I get the high school that they went to. Mm-hmm. And some of them, that's it. Some of them, you are applying for a nanny job, but you worked at the hair salon, you worked at the Firehouse Subs, then you worked at McDonald's, and nowhere in that resume does it say anything about I work with children. Mm-hmm. So it's difficult for me to pass along a resume that says my specialty is in the food industry and not in the childcare industry. Mm-hmm. So how do we correct those resumes to say I babysat for this family, I did, took care of so-and-so's child for this amount of time, instead of these are the official jobs that I have had from these companies? How do we switch that resume up to get the job? Because we babysat on the side, but this was our main source of income.
Well, one of the things I want to mention here is the fact of your resume is not supposed to be a kitchen sink. You don't just dump everything on it. It's supposed to be targeted and focused. So if you've got a job where you're going into childcare and you've had experience in childcare, that's what needs to be front and center. So as you go through your experience and you've worked at Firehouse Subs and you sold lemonade on the side of the road, you have to think about, does this really align with the job description that I'm applying for? This family's looking for a nanny. None of what I have selling lemonade or working here really helps the family understand that, hey, I'm the right candidate for the job. So if you babysat, if you were a camp counselor working with children, even if it doesn't seem like it's immediately tied, at least if it's relevant information, that it can still bolster your chances of getting an opportunity. But you have to think about, I don't have to put everything. It's not a kitchen sink. You can really cut back on some of those irrelevant jobs that don't have anything to do with the job description.
Okay.
Yeah, and I totally agree. That's the other thing that we emphasize to people when I'm teaching courses is the relevance. And yeah, maybe you want to show some of that other work history because it shows that you've got good work ethic and all the rest of this. but it goes at the end of the resume. And even put your volunteer work ahead of professional experience if it's these things that are not necessarily relating to the career you want to move into. Now, there is one thing that you brought up that is massively important, Angela, and I want to make sure that I get Julia and Tamika to chime in on this one, because I always tell people employers are going to treat you as seriously as you treat yourself.
Yes.
Thank you.
One of the biggest ways is you have to deliver the documents.
Yeah.
Ways that they were requested.
Yes.
And when I did corporate HR, this is one of the biggest ways I cut candidates.
Yeah.
I say email in the job posting itself. It says, email me this email address, send me a resume and a cover letter as a Word document. And if you can't do all three of those things, guess what? You're cut. That's it. You're dead.
Yeah.
And that's how every corporate HR person thinks. Right, ladies?
Right. And I'll let you go first, Tamika.
Oh no, I was gonna say that everything that Donna just said, I mean, it really is process of elimination. There are certain things set in place to test you, with the resume being one of them. Can you simply follow instructions? I see a lot of job postings that say send me a resume, a cover letter, and a sample of your work along with salary requirements. If you're sending one or two or not all of those things, you're automatically eliminating yourself. And then once they get to the resume, does it contain everything that I need? Does it tell me that you're qualified? Do you have what it is that I'm looking for? Do you have the degree that I need? Do you have the years of experience? Do you have these competencies? I tell people, the first time you apply, it really is process of elimination, and people don't necessarily think like that. And it's unfortunate because you really kind of cut off your own foot before you even begin to walk if you don't do certain things.
And just one other comment here. It is now 2020. Most of us have a smart device or an iPad or something. At this juncture, there's no reason why you don't have an email, your resume that you can access, whether it's a PDF or Word version, or if you have an Apple phone, you've got the cloud that's available where you can access your files. There's really no reason now that you don't have immediate access if someone asks you for your resume. Save it in your, scan it on your phone if you have to, whatever it is, but you should have a copy that's readily available so that you don't have to take a picture. You don't have to send just snippets. It's 2020 now that we should really be utilizing technology to access these documents so that when the opportunity comes, you don't get caught, slipping like, hey, I don't have what I need. And then someone can slide in and take that opportunity from you because they were prepared, they followed instructions, and then they followed through.
Yeah. There is Google Docs, there is Files, there is Dropbox, I even have a camera scanner on my phone. Yeah. Well, I can take a picture, scan it to a file, and then it asks me if I want to group it. Because if I have a resume that is more than one page or a file that is more than one page, I can even if I take that picture and it looks kind of wonky, it allows you to line it up so you have a perfectly symmetrical rectangular page. And if you send the file, it goes as a file, not as a picture. Yeah, so you can save, there are so many different things while you're playing with your phone and downloading all the game apps and all the other apps and the fashion apps and whatever. Photoshop. And yes, Photoshop apps and even the baby apps that some of our clients require. Please take the time to find out about Dropbox, find out about Google, Google Files, the documents, all of this can help you. Even if you email it to yourself as a file. Yeah. I have emailed it to myself as a file, but I was like, okay, I'm in job mode. I'm in job hunting mode. Let me stop right now and just get my computer, email my resume to myself on my phone. So that way you can pull up that document and forward it to whomever it is that you needed to forward it to. And add your little letter to there in your email. Here, as requested, here is my resume, and I can provide you with references upon request.
Yeah. And like
All of that.
Especially if you're dealing with an agency and you think they're going to convert it to a document or retype it for you, they do not.
Yeah.
They don't. And if you're sending it directly to an employer, I've worked with a lot of nannies who are 30-year career nannies, and sometimes they'll say, well, I don't need to be tech savvy, I just work with the children. It's like, well, your employers are now millennials and they are all tech savvy, so they're going to ask you to do a lot more technology wise, and you need to go take some classes if you don't understand how to use it.
Oh yes, I have been asked to take tablets and find the kids some games to play on the plane that are going to inspire them to work their minds, to educate them. And if you don't know, better ask somebody. I'm just saying. Y'all know me. Okay, so we have another question. Liz wants to know nope, not Liz. Take that back. What is the question? I passed by. Oh, Allison said, if we take out a job that is non-related, will they question a gap in my employment? I think you touched on that, Donna, where you put that down at the bottom. It's still in your resume, but you want to put the child-related ones on up top and put that one down at the bottom.
It's a separate section. So you have like relevant experience, and then you have additional experience, and that's where all the other stuff there, and that won't have a perceived gap.
And even if you are volunteering at the nursery, at the church, I'm sure there are plenty of parents there at the nursery, at the church, that will vouch for you and will be willing to give you a letter of reference. It is still related to working with children. It may not be in a home setting, but you are still responsible for the welfare and the safety of those children. So that is a relevant, let me repeat, it is a relevant experience when it comes to searching for a nanny. Whatever field you are working in, as these young ladies have said, put that on your resume first. Whatever you stand out in, whatever's going to make you stand out. If you have all this special training that very few people have, like master NCSs. Now I'm an NCS, and I've been thrown into the NCS field even before I even knew about NCS. But to be a master, that means you have studied and studied and studied. You know the nth degree, not just, oh, I'm in general, or I know a little bit more than the regular person. If you are an advanced or an elite or a master means I have gone to school, and I have, those of you who have master's degree, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You go to school and you got to prove I have mastered this. So when you are a master NCS, you know more and you get paid more, and they expect more from you. So put that, if you got that special class, you do sign language and that's your thing, put that on there. And you know the parents are looking for someone to teach their child sign language, put that on there, because that's important to them. If it's important to the parents and you have that training, put it up front, because they go say, oh, she knows sign language. Hold on, let me look at the rest of this. Something that is going to catch their eye to make them want to read more. It's just like a commercial.
Yeah.
Commercial comes on and you're like, ooh, that music, hold on, what's that? You know the song gets you to bopping, and you get going, and then you walk into the TV to see, what in the world is this? But the song drew you in. So whatever it is that you specialize in, put it on your resume first to draw them in, then get them to bop into your music. Just saying. I know, I'm sorry, I work with kids. I have to have my analogy.
It's a good one.
But it works. I mean, that's a great point. It works.
So let me see. Anne said, Donna Shannon rocks. She did the best resume for me. Thanks again, Donna. Anne Marie Stanley.
Oh, yes, yes. Good to see you, Anne Marie. Mhm.
Okay, so Marilyn wants to know, what about cute, blocked, formatted resumes?
Mm.
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 Anybody want to
Who
tackle
wants to
that
do,
one?
who wants to do formatting?
I
Like,
think
I
mine
might
is
as well
cute
go
and
ahead and kick
blocked,
it off.
Are they
but
asking
it
more
just
like about
depends
that?
on the industry and what
Oh,
cute you're talking about.
Right.
I would say, yeah, I used to do the super cute resumes, the templates and the, pretty colors and the cute icons. But at the end of the day, I find them to be, and I think some hiring managers do as well, to be a little bit ineffective and distracting. You really want to focus on your experience, your value, what you bring to the table. Focus on what I like to call like the meat and potatoes, the why. And then once you get the interview, maybe you can bring that paper version of the resume to the interview itself. But sometimes also those templates they're not very eye friendly. And so the eye naturally reads from left to right in like a Z pattern, if you will. And sometimes those templates tend to be a little bit all over the place. So I would recommend doing a straight kind of everything kind of centered a little bit, formatting left to right, just kind of a bare bones, straight to the point type resume, and stay away from bright or flashy colors such as orange, or I've seen pink, I've seen purple, I've seen yellow, which is terribly hard to read on the eye. So focus on more professional colors such as, a deep blue, maybe a deep green, gray, those sort of shades. And with your font choice, make sure you're choosing a font that's also very easy to read, nothing too fancy, no swoops, no curls. I tend to use Arial as the best font for me. So I would say no to the cutesy ones, and really just kind of stick to the value and make yourself appear professional.
I like the Georgia font.
Georgia is good.
It's got just enough curl and swirl
Yeah.
without being curly cues.
Yeah.
And I'll just chime in on formatting as well. Going back to something that Donna said earlier, it's really about kind of what space you're in and what industry you're in, and what's relevant and what's acceptable there. But you don't want to sacrifice the content by trying to fit in all the, the design and the graphics, because, if you've got really great experience, but then you're trying to put in this cute block or this cute graphic or something, and you're missing out on again, on the meat and potatoes, rather, to try to, you don't want to miss out on providing that valuable content, because again, this is a marketing document where you're really trying to sell yourself. And so if all they're seeing is design, and when they're trying to read the content, it's like, okay, well, you're just telling me that you took care of a child, and you fed them and so forth. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't necessarily make you stand out from all the other resumes they may be reading. So I do think that you should look at the resume formatting in the context of the industry that you're working in. And so if it is acceptable to have some flair and design, that's one thing, but you don't want to sacrifice content at all in an effort to include all the cutesy designs and graphics.
Yeah, you're not going for a graphic designer job.
Exactly.
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 Although art is a part of taking care of toddlers, but get the job first.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you do your artsy fartsy stuff.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we have a question. How many pages is too many?
10.
If it's going in the portfolio, that's one thing, but sending it through email, that's totally different.
I mean, I would say that if you're at 3 pages for your resume, so not your portfolio, I would say that if you're at 3, that's a bit much. I think if you have 2 strong, solid pages, 2 pages is a lot of room to tell a story. I mean,
Yeah.
I work with clients in private industry and executives and so forth, and they've got 30 years of experience, and you're able to get that on 2 pages. So the question is, what is it that you would have to say on page 3 that's worth somebody reading? And the question is, are you sacrificing, or is the detail too much for some of the other roles that's causing you to end up on 3 pages? So I would say, and I'll let the other ladies here speak, but I think once you hit page 3, you've probably lost everybody.
Yeah, and we do some executive resumes that will go to 3 pages, but when we're doing those executive resumes, those are for our C-suite guys at like Abbott, in pharmaceuticals and Johnson and Johnson and
Yeah.
Disney and some of the other places like that. And that's expected and normal there. We do have some nanny resumes that go to 3 pages, but I love to fit them on 2. I really do.
I third that. I was going to say second that, but I third that. 2 pages is more than enough if you're sticking to value, if you're sticking to your accomplishments, and you're sticking to the key things that they are looking for. There should be no reason why 2 pages is not enough. At most 2.5, but even still, that's really pushing it. I would say 2 is a solid number for you to shoot for.
Okay, you all have given the technical answer, but I'm going to give you all the practical answer. Think about it. You got 3 toddlers running around. You got to cook dinner, change pampers, bedtime, bath, feed. Mama. How much time do you actually think they're going to have time to read? That's the practical answer. So whatever time you think that they have to read, if you go there with that 3 or 4 pages, guess what? Little Johnny is going to get a hold of that, and half of your resume is going to be gone anyway. It might get flushed down the toilet. The dog may snatch it and eat it. Honestly, I have seen this happen with my own resume. The dog came by, snatched it, and went on. I was like, okay. And they're chasing the dog. And then you got the kids, and they, Mama, I want to read it. I want to read it. And they got their bottle, and then the next thing you know, the water cup, and then it's smeared. And guess what? They didn't get a chance to read. So just being practical from a nanny's point of view, think about it. That's all I'm going to say. Think about it. Because when you are a mom and you got all this business, I just need the ins and outs and hit the points and let's go. Because that's all I have time for. So put your stuff out there. Now, I have one more question. Katie, I think that's how you pronounce your name. She's saying, just to go back to the point of skills and qualifications, being bilingual is a huge qualification. Lately, I get requests from parents for nannies exclusively speak Spanish. So you are worth double. They are saving lots of money in college for their kids to learn another language. So, in other words, that's a skill. If you're bilingual, put it on there.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, I've had families, if they speak Spanish, can they speak Cantonese? Can they speak French? Do they do sign language? Reading to sign language. I'm a baby sign language instructor, so that is one of my top ones. I'm a lactation specialist. That's one of my top ones. I'm a new parent educator. All of those at the top of my list. Because I know I've gone to school, gone and gotten this training. Yes, it's gonna go at the top. So you already know 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, we want her. That's what you want. You want their brain to say, yeah, I want that. That's what I'm looking for. Because sometimes parents don't know what they're looking for. And you putting your qualifications and your specialties up top and up front, it may not have been something that had crossed their mind, but because you put it on there, they're like, yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, I want that. So please, when you're doing that resume, make sure you got that up front. Okay, let me see if I have any more questions. Marilyn said, you ladies are very sharp. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Meecha says, thank you so much. And Meecha says, that's great answers. Okay, so you all are on top of it. But I had no doubts that you would be. Let's see. I don't think we have any more questions. Nope, no more questions. Do you all have any final remarks? I know we got started late, so I'm not going to hold you all forever.
No, I do got to keep going pretty soon, but Yeah, the main thing is think about what's the message you want to convey. It needs to be tech savvy because that's where the employers are. And don't take a picture of your resume. Yeah, and also respond to the right platform. I know I'm on Facebook and you guys are welcome to connect with me. I do not check my Facebook message nearly as much as I do my email or my LinkedIn. Those are the things I'm in day out. And I've had nannies reach out to me and I say, please email me or please call me. And then they never do. And then they get mad at me, even though I've already told them
Exactly.
that this is not the best platform to catch me. So just kind of take that as a little coaching moment whenever you're dealing with an agency or a coach or a parent. Find their preferred communication and always work within that.
Especially if you want something from them.
Yes.
And just my thought would be to piggyback a little bit on that and just making sure that you're following instructions. If they're asking you to email. If they ask you for a cover letter and a resume, provide that. Just make sure that you're following instructions, because these are busy parents or they're busy agencies and they don't have time to sift through, well, did the person give me everything? Well, let me see if this person didn't give me everything. Should I still look at it? They're looking to cut as quickly as possible so they can narrow their scope and interview somebody and get someone in the door. So follow instructions. And the other thing I would just mention is remember to communicate your value. You guys do a lot of good work with children and taking a lot of stress off of parents. Make sure that you're communicating that up front. Don't just give them your task. They want to know the stuff that you're knocking out of the park, the impact that you've had. So when you're thinking about putting a resume together, think about impact, because you do such great work and you don't want it to get lost because you're just giving them a task list.
Agreed.
Yes.
I would say my final thoughts would be to really, my slogan or my phrase is that you cannot apply to a professional job with an unprofessional resume. So just make sure it's 2020. Make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. Make sure that you're presenting your best self on paper and online. I think in the future, we're going to see a lot of employers start looking at social media and other forms of digital profiles to consider candidates. So make sure you're presenting yourself well on paper. Make sure that you're professional, and also consider your social media profiles. If you're actively looking for a nanny job, I guarantee you that they're checking Facebook, they're checking Instagram, they're going through all of that activity. So maybe change your profile picture, go through some old photos, delete them, update your background photo, turn yourself into a professional brand. At this point, everybody should have one, and if you don't, you should be getting one. So yeah, just make sure you're portraying yourself as a professional and that you are someone that somebody would want to hire to watch their children. Because I know who I don't want to watch my kids. I know what that looks like. Yeah. So
make sure that again for the people in the back. I'm so serious. I literally, when I say I preach that, I preach that. People, I've had grandparents tell me that they stalked me on Facebook before they decide to hire me. Yeah. When I tell you that cute little bikini that you got on your Facebook page, that is your cover page or your profile picture, when mama, who is sitting there pregnant and thinking that she looked like a whale, when she sees that picture, no, you're not coming up in my house because I have a husband. Yeah. And I'm looking at you in this little bikini, and it sends the hormones, will send visions in your head and get scenarios started and make you analyze everything. I'm just telling you, postpartum is real. Yeah. I'm just saying, when you're sitting there and you feeling like a whale, you don't want little Miss Skinny Minnie in a bikini in your house. No. But if you have on nice, nanny t-shirt, some blue jeans, a hat, or you're out at the beach, building sandcastles with a child, or just even a casual picture. Yeah. You're professional. It doesn't have to be all dressed up, Miss Headshot and everything. Save that for something else. But if it's on your Facebook page, you want to look like, I know how to have fun, but not, I know how to have fun. That ain't the right one.
Because there is a difference. There is a big difference.
There is a difference. I'm just saying. So, thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. Thank you for all your information. Thank you for just everything. And also, feel free to go back on Facebook. This is going to be live. I mean, this is going to be on my page. And feel free to go back and answer questions if you'd like to.
Sure.
And also post your information.
We'll put all of our contact information on.
Yes, please put your contact information, your company, your website, how to get in contact with you, because I know for sure after tonight, we're gonna need some resumes, some professional resumes. And ladies, please do not, or I shouldn't say just ladies, ladies and gentlemen in the nanny world, please do not be afraid to invest in yourself.
Yes.
To say it, in order to get to the next level, you got to be willing to do things to get to the next level, and that's changing your mindset. That I can't afford this. How can you afford not to? Do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want to stay at minimum wage for the rest of your life? Make an investment in yourself. Don't get your nails done 1 week. Do them yourself.
Yeah.
Wash your own hair for a week or two. I'm just saying, I have done it. Whatever the sacrifice it is that I needed to get to the next level, trust me, I have done it. I haven't always been married with a husband who was willing to take care of me. I've been there, done that. As a single nanny on a nanny salary that, no. Trust me, make an investment in yourself. Take pride in yourself. It's part of your self-care. Because if you don't care enough to get out of that job that is you work 60 hours a week for a minimum wage and they're still not paying you overtime, then you need to do what you need to do to get beyond that. And it starts with a professional resume. Because you have the skills, you have the heart. You just need to look the part.
Very well put.
Yes.
So, thank you, ladies. Thank you again.
So,
Thank you.
Angela, can I say one more thing real quick?
Yes.
I have some speaking engagements coming up this year, so I will be presenting about resumes on Chicago for International Nanny Training Day. That's April 18th. I believe I'll be posting tickets up online for the early bird rate really soon. So while I'm there, going to be doing an extended workshop, like a 4-hour workshop on resumes and LinkedIn.
Wow.
And like a second day that has to deal all with interview coaching. And then I'm going to be repeating the same program probably in May in Dallas.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay, you coming my way. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to be speaking about the mini portfolio in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Nice.
On INNTD.
Nice.
So
nice.
You all come out. I'm just saying. And Julia and Tamika, just in case you don't know, International Nanny Training Day takes place every year. And each year it's like in 30, I think last year was like 35 different cities, all on the same day, all at the same time. So nannies from all over the world are training on the same day at the same time, but we may be training on something totally different. So, and when I found out about my first INNTD, changed my life.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
So, trust me, some of these women may be calling you all, the ones that are in INNTD, they may be calling you, asking you about your resume writing skills and to come and do a workshop, just like Donna's doing one. So please, please, please put your information in the box on Facebook in the comments, so that if somebody asks, oh, I know somebody who's a great speaker, tell them. I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm trying to get y'all to business too.
Yes, no, definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. We will see you all next week. Next week, we are doing something totally different. It's called What to Do When. So it's going to be a nanny discussion. Our special guest is going to be Glenda Probst and Emily Kate Rowland. And we're going to be having we're going deep. We're going to have some deep discussions next week. So be sure you join us for what to do when. And you all have a wonderful evening. And thank you all for joining us. And thank you, ladies, for coaching me through. I was about to lose it. But I thank you all for coaching me through and being patient with me. And thanks again. And we will see you all next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.